going on, guys? It's Captain Trucker here. If this is your first time, you can subscribe if you want. If you don't want to, that's okay too. Um, so I want to talk a little bit about this video, is like where the origins of this whole live like a king for $1,200 and the abroad, so to speak, in the Philippines and Southeast Asia and stuff like that. It's a good question because I don't know where it started, so I was trying to research some of that, but the whole notion of a king, it's a bit grandiose, isn't it? But anyway, somebody must have started that trend years ago, and I guess it just caught on because as far as there's a lot of stuff on YouTube that says that. I'm even using that stuff in my own thumbnails and titles because I'm doing it. I'm trying to do it in an ironic sort of way, so people that actually watch the video understand that I'm making fun of that idea, which of course I am a little bit. But yeah, back to the whole finance thing, guys. Is well, first of all, in this video, I want to talk just a little bit about finances, but I want to read and respond to a lot of the viewers' comments because a lot of them are really interested and they offer good points to what we can basically talk about and other subjects as well. And just a little bit about my background, sort of. But okay, yeah, so let's start off with the finance thing, guys. I want to reiterate again that you can totally live a good life, a decent life off $1,200-1,500 in the Philippines per month, okay? It's plenty of money. It's plenty of money, especially in the provinces. It's good money. You can eat really good food. You can build, assuming you have savings, you could probably build a good house for $20,000 if you want. You could build solar panels. You can have a satellite, fiber optic internet. It's all good. I got fiber optic in my little thing here, so the connection's actually pretty good. And sorry for the rooster noises. But yeah, guys, I wasn't. Consumer prices are significantly less expensive in this country, so you will save money if you move to the Philippines. But my only point was just don't do it for the money. That's all I was saying. So. But really quick, I wanted to read the origin of. Well, I want to read the definition of the word king. Some of the definitions. There's a lot of definition. I like this one. And this is from the Oxford Languages Dictionary. A person or thing regarded as the finest or most important in its sphere or group. And it's an archaic verb. And one of the negative connotations is to act in an unpleasantly superior and dominating manner. And there's another definition somewhere as to what it means to live extravagantly or in luxury. And I think I'm hoping that's what a lot of these people mean when they say live like a king. It's just basically to have nicer stuff. But, words are just words. But look, guys, on this channel, man, I'm trying to be independent as far as this isn't a pro-Philippine channel. It's not a pro-America. It's not an anti-Philippine channel. It's not an anti-American. It's none of that. This is just me trying to give you my most independent, subjective and objective views of my experience. I've been to, I've been to 49 states. I've been to dozens of cities. I've lived in California. I lived in Texas a long time. I lived in the state of Maine. I've been to about 9 countries, some extensively, including the Philippines. And, I've seen a little bit. I didn't go to Ivy League school. I went to community college because that's for... Well, I did. Community college. I did a public access show in high school, a self-titled show, which was basically a comedy show. This is before the days of YouTube. This is in the late 90s. We were doing home videos chopped up into comedy sketches. A lot of improv and a lot of just comedy sketches. Before the days of YouTube in Ventura County, California. And it had some traction. It had, a little bit of a fan base. But that was back when I was more into doing entertainment stuff. And these days it's more, I'm trying to make this as informative and honest as possible. This whole thing would like, and that's why I'm really moved by a lot of the commenters and people that are starting to appreciate this, and I really do appreciate that as well. So let's keep it up, guys, and let's keep growing this thing. And let me read some of the comments that I've liked. And if I don't read them all, it's not because I don't like it or anything like that. It's just I don't have time to talk about all of them. But if you want in a comment, if you want me to give a shout out, just say so, and I'll try to do it. That's no problem. Oh, quick shout out to one of our Filipino friends that was watching this channel. Since I've been starting it, Ringo, friend of the family, good guy here down in Negros. So shout out to Mr. Ringo. Keep it up. Stay good, man. All right, let's read some comments now. Stephen Fort, he says, I get you, but too many of these guys never had the experience of living abroad, so it takes time to adjust and to learn. So a little patience and giving your advice, it helps. You know, I appreciate him saying that, because I was a bit critical in that video. Mostly just for discussion points, though, okay? And I want to be clear that, like, not all foreigners, older foreigners, are bad, and not all Filipinos are scammers and this or that. It's not like that. The video is more just to make a point about reasons not to go somewhere. I'm not saying that all foreigners would do that. Plenty of good foreigners here, older and younger, so, yeah. And I appreciate what Steven's saying, because it's more to the point of, like, to have compassion and to have patience for people. And I think we need to do more of that in cultures in general, as far as dealing with, you know, immigrants and foreigners and so forth. And I can't control the roosters, so, but I know Brian Fouquet likes them. So Brian's one of my, he's a funny guy. He's in Thailand. I like some of the stuff he says. I think he kind of gets the humor in some of this, and he's appreciating the fact that, like, channels like this is we're trying to, you know, stick up a little bit for the Filipinos and not sort of paint them or some extreme way or whatever, you know. But all right, yeah, and Neil. Sorry, I'm looking. I got a light on, so it's blinding my eyes. Neil Martin says that whenever someone says you can live like a king in the Philippines, they have no idea what they're saying. The Philippines is less expensive, but not cheap. I'm looking for a comfortable lifestyle for me and my fiance. I'll be very happy with that. Well, you know, Neil, it is significantly less expensive, but if you're like a big city type of guy and you're gonna have like a high-rise, real prestigious condo, maybe like in Manila or Makati, it could be expensive. But generally, it is cheaper, you know, as far as prices. Not electricity, though, specifically. So anybody who wants to build a house out here, I'd highly recommend solar panels. Daniel Pastor P says, he goes, you can even live with $700 to $900 monthly. And that's true. That's totally true. And I will say this, you can actually, if you already have a place built, and that's sort of taken care of, like your monthly expenses in the provinces, you could probably do $500, guys. 25,000 pesos, and with that, you could probably still be pretty comfortable. Good food, and you could probably still afford to even travel a little bit as well. So maybe some weekend trips. Berg wrote today, he says, I agree that it's naive to think Social Security of $1,500 or less is going to create a lifestyle that is extravagant. But I do not agree with the title of your video. Of course, you can save money because you're not spending as much. I just spent in the Philippines on vacation. When I returned, I've saved an extra $3,000 just because I didn't execute my usual lifestyle choices for 4 weeks. And he says, you know, be careful with your characterizations of those kind of guys, meaning foreigners, I think is what he's talking about, making everybody wonder what kind of guy you are. He says, what are you doing there? Like, are you independently wealthy? What's your story, my man? Why are you there? If it isn't to save some money? If it wasn't so inexpensive, you couldn't do it. Well, you know, Martin, I'll get into that in later videos, but um, one of my points is that like not everything, and I'm not saying this sarcastically, but not everything that people do in life is necessarily money related. It's just not. Um, Including maybe people they love and places they go and choose to live. Um, it's not all about the money. I live. I mean, I work as a truck driver, over the road truck driver for a pretty good company, and I make a decent middle class salary as an American, and I could very well live in America, but I'm just choosing not to at this time, I guess. So, but yeah, I'll get into more of that later. Now, I want to read one of my haters out there, and this is an alias. This isn't this guy's real name, for his protection, and I understand. I'm not the type of person. I don't call people out ever. I'm not gonna give innuendos or reveal people's identities or anything like that. It's not the way we do it here. But yeah, Charles, man, my man Charles. Oh my God, my old acquaintance Charles, man. My goodness, my goodness. Sorry about that. My camera cut off. But anyway, yeah. So back to Charles. Charles says, what foreigners do you know complaining about Asia? He says you left your country, you're hanging out with losers on and off throughout the time I've known you. It's no surprise your subscribers want to be socialist like you, but you're more extreme. Now you're living in a sewer in the Philippines and showing the world. I unsubscribed. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Charles. A little background. Charles is an old acquaintance of mine from 8 years ago. And how can I describe Charles? Well, it'd be like, how can I socially describe him? It'd be about my age, like a white-collar, middle-class, probably Republican, hardcore Trump supporter, American. He came from a middle-class background, worked hard and went to college, and he probably makes pretty good money now. He's probably been around the world a little bit. Charles, the thing with, and oh yeah, and by email he also said that I'm a big fish in a small pond and I'm delusional. Yeah, I'm a big fish in a small pond living like a king, he says. I mean, I'm not sure you saw the video of my house. Hey Charles, why don't we look at your house? Because I'm pretty sure you'd be living in Florida with a $500,000 mortgage paying interest you probably can't afford despite your good income. Keeping up with those Joneses, waking up, saluting the Donald Trump flag, and talking with your other neighbors about those darn immigrants. Well, here's the thing, guys. And, I do respect Charles, by the way, for his honesty, because he's hitting on a good point here. There's a tendency, like in groups, in sociology, anthropology, it's called like ethnocentrism. That's the belief that your culture is basically better than another's. Like, your ball team, your favorite whatever is better. It's a group mentality. People tend to fuel off groups, okay? And unfortunately, like in politics, which are man-made, it does create like oppositions, okay? And unfortunately, some people get fuel off of condemning and looking down on others. There's a certain sugar high they get from that, you see. But it's short-lived, okay? And like one of my heroes, Arnold Schwarzenegger, said, he made a great point. All the regimes in history that were hate-based, the Confederacy, the Nazis, and there were some other ones, they all ended up losers, the real losers. They all failed because it was a temporary high they got from hate and it didn't sustain the test of time. Some people, like from my home country, like Americans, they tend to, fortunately, that's just not the case. I hate to say. I mean, obviously, there would be some views that are and some that are not, right? Like I said, political stuff is man-made, and I'm pretty sure the Son of God, Jesus Christ, who came to save us all and was the great Redeemer and settled at the cross for us, I don't think he was hanging out with the big politicians at the country club drinking lemonade, talking to Caesar about those darn immigrants and hoping he'll rid the world of them. I don't think so. I don't think Jesus was a corporate lawyer either. He was a fisherman and he was a hard worker. Okay? Not to say that corporate lawyers and rich people, they're all good, okay? Jesus came for everybody. See, Charles holds a certain cultural point of view of Christianity that's shared by a lot of people. And I identify with Christianity as well. We just have different social views. Yeah, there's a lot of condensation and a lot of demonization of other cultures, other countries, and that's unfortunately what people sometimes do. And he's saying that, oh, and he also said that I failed in my own culture. Well, I didn't really fail, Charles. I mean, I made choices. I could very much well get a mortgage, well, maybe not $500,000, because I wouldn't pay that much interest. But I could be in my country, keeping up with the Joneses, so to speak. But yeah, as far as being the big fish here, man, I mean, it is true. Like, I'm a fairly big guy. I'm bigger than Filipinos. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not really throwing my money around. I hate to say it, but guys like Charles, they'd be the type of guys that would go overseas maybe for a couple of years and then say, well, I shouldn't have done that. Well, yeah, I know. See, I've always said, guys, you learn a lot about a man. You learn a lot about a man. One, when he gets his first pile of cash, and two, the way he treats people in a foreign country and poorer cultures. You learn a lot. So, Charles, I'm going to go ahead and quote, and I got to do it, Matthew 7. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. So that's what I'm doing here. And, Charles, I love you, man. I really do. And I actually have some kind of respect for you. And we're different. And one of the differences between you and I is, like, I don't think that I'm better than you. I don't think I'm better than Americans or worse. But I can probably say that you and maybe some others genuinely do think you're better than some other cultures. And I also hate to say this, that certain types of people, if they were alive during Darwin really polluted the minds, who was a godless man, by the way, who polluted the minds of many people into the theory of evolution. And Adolf Hitler, I believe, I don't know if that's true, but I would guess it is. It doesn't really matter if it's true or not. I would suspect he was in view with a guy like that, with a guy like Charles Darwin, as far as superior races and inferior people and so forth. These are points of vanity, guys. Looks, blue eyes, blonde hair, pointed noses, dark skin, wide noses, short people, tall people. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just looks, whatever that is, right? So, looks and abilities and all this sort of stuff, I guess, that's the idea. I don't know. I don't know too much about the theory of evolution. I do know that there's some reports that say Charles Darwin, on his own deathbed, regretted, I think, his books and maybe his teachings. And there's even some rumors to say that he refuted it all and he turned to Christianity. I don't know if that's true. I've just read a few things, but yeah. So guys, we just got to try to be good to people, as cheesy as that sounds. We got to be good to people, I guess. And Charles, I don't hate you. I love you, man. And yeah, so that's about it. Can't please everybody, but I do respect Charles in a weird way. I will say that. But I disagree with him. I don't think that he's saying that I'm a loser and our viewers are losers. I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with that. And I'm not sure how I failed in my culture, Charles. I mean, what are you referring to? Actually, I don't want to know. But what are you referring to specifically? I mean, you don't even know me that well. We were acquaintances 8 years ago. But all right, guys. Well, anyway, on to more positive stuff. Love you guys out there, and let's keep it up. I'll try to post some more stuff in the Philippines, some more commentaries, hopefully, and let's just keep it up. And you guys be safe, be good to your neighbor. It's Captain Trucker. Take care. Bye bye.